side that's an operating system. All the rest are just tools. This is the version of Windows that you put into to install or capture an image of Windows. That's what you made in the project, was a WinPE ISO. All right, which tool removes the hardware specific settings? SysPrep, you'll see many statements on Microsoft certification exams where they try to trick you into saying you're going to use SysPrep as part of a normal install. You never do. You only use it when making a reference image. How about unintended answer files? Which one of these will do that for you? SIM, you've been using SIM. It's not different, I think. All right, let me bring up the project. Because you did this in the project, I saw quite a few of you doing it. 345. The first one here was making an answer file. And the tool you use is System Image Manager, this thing here. That's the thing with all this jazz and all that jazz. System Image Manager, all this stuff just makes a plain text file. So I realize it's kind of weird and it seems complicated, but you need to start getting used to the lingo anyway. System Image Manager is what you use to make answer files. I also found it quite confusing at first. All right, and what tool? I think we already did this one, right? Yeah, all right. So there are virtual hard disk files. This is the format Microsoft uses to store hard disks for virtual machines. And as I mentioned before, they are quite proud of the fact that you can mix the two together. You can convert a Windows image to a virtual hard disk, and you can service it offline, and you can deploy Windows directly to a virtual machine, and you can boot a virtual machine as if it was a real machine. These are all issues that Microsoft does support now. So virtual hard disk files are used by Virtual PC, Hyper-V, and Virtual Server, all Microsoft's virtualization products. Also, many other Microsoft products use it. If you have Enterprise or Ultimate, you can boot the virtual machine directly or run it in a virtual machine either way. And you can use DiskPart, which you did in the projects, to make a VHD. You can use disk management. You can treat them just like real hard drives, which is really quite nice compared to VMware, where something you put on a virtual hard drive cannot be accessed unless you boot that virtual machine and get it inside it. So you can just create VHD in disk management. It's a file that lives in a folder on another disk, but it's treated by the operating system as another hard drive. You can attach them in read-only or read-write mode. You can create them in DiskPart. Anything you do in the GUI, you can do in the command line, of course. It's been a fundamental Microsoft principle since Windows XP. There's nothing you cannot do from the command line, so you can script things. And now we got PowerShell. It's even more powerful. And a lot of people, I imagine, I don't know, maybe a PowerShell class filled up really fast. And show up, try to add if you didn't get in. PowerShell is awesome, and we'll finally have a good PowerShell class here next semester. All right, so like I say, if you have Enterprise or Ultimate, you can boot directly from the VHD. You can use ImageX to put it on there. You can copy a WIM onto it. Either way is fine. Then you can put things directly on a VHD without installing it. Of course, the normal way to do this is the way you did in Lab. You run some kind of virtual machine software and install it that way, right, with VMware or Microsoft virtual machine.
Who's teaching that PowerShell class?
Who's teaching? Doug Spindler. He's the guy that runs specific IT pros. He's new here, but he's been teaching. He's a big Microsoft insider. He's often does contract jobs for Microsoft. He's an expert on Server 2000 install and Hyper-V and PowerShell. So great step up. He's adding something new to our department. That's 102. All right, so you can take an image and put it on a virtual hard disk with this special tool, Win2 VHD. So that's kind of fun. And when you, just like any other deployment, when you first boot it up, you'll then have the out-of-box experience, like a brand new machine where it will ask you about networking and updates and your password. So here's an example of the command prompt for that, cscript wim2vhd. And so here's the install wim. Here's the stock keeping unit. That's what this means. You'll see Microsoft refer to this a lot. The SKU is just going to put Ultimate on there from this WIM because you can install any version from a WIM. And it's going to use an unintended answer file, so that will put it right on there. All right. There's a servicing tool to service your virtual machine offline so it can get its updates. This is important, and I think this is why Microsoft pushes this, because if you had an out-of-date virtual machine, it's something you don't use very often, you boot it up, it hasn't been on for 6 months, it's now a hazard on your network. Even if you boot it up to try to update it, it's on for a while without the updates. This way you can put updates on before it ever comes on. And so every machine that boots up can always have the current updates. All right. So if you want to do this, you got to have Server 2008 or 2003, Service Pack 2, and some other tools to do this. And you do most of it from PowerShell. Everything in modern Windows is running from PowerShell. Here's a PowerShell-based administration console. Most of these GUIs are actually just generating PowerShell commands in the background, and you can see them. PowerShell is actually growing faster and faster. Microsoft now has a bunch of PowerShell commands, so you can run Hyper-V locally, you can have virtual machines, and in PowerShell you can just push those up to the Azure cloud, pull them down from the Azure cloud, duplicate them, make a domain controller in the cloud, and log into the cloud domain controller. Now in this class, they give you an Azure project where you make a domain controller in the cloud, but you're not ever able to really log into it, because that is really difficult. In order to do that, you need a bunch of local infrastructure, and you need it all in PowerShell. But you just keep adding more and more features. It's really pretty impressive, although you end up paying Microsoft a lot of money at the end of all this. There are all these advanced features, these fancy components, and all these Azure machines, which are not cheap. Anyway, you can install Ultimate remotely to bootable VHDs. And this comes with a WSUtil command tool that you use for that. As mentioned, all these features exist. Don't expect you to remember them all, but you